Well, good evening. My name is Karen Montaigne. I am the Director of Volunteer Engagement with the U.S. Naval Sea Cadet Corps. I want to welcome you to our first National Parent Orientation. Thank you so much for being here tonight. First, I just want to recognize that we're quite a mix of parents. I know some of you may be just looking at the Sea Cadets for maybe joining. Some of you maybe have been with us since February or March, right when the pandemic hit. Some may have joined over the summer. Whatever your situation is, you're in exactly the right place tonight. So thank you. I also want to explain that I'm in the same shoes that you are. I am also a new parent to this program, as my son joined at the very beginning of the pandemic. So very happy to have you here tonight. We have our Director of Cadet Unit Operations, Miss Vicki Powell, who is going to take it over from here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and welcome everyone. We are so excited that you joined us, and hopefully this will be a very informative presentation for you. We like to give our new recruit parents some information about our program. You know, normally in normal times, you might have an opportunity to engage with your local unit and get this information personally, but we understand that during this COVID time that it's been difficult and you may feel a little bit disconnected. And that's why we wanted to offer this opportunity to you. We do have some chiefs joining us, and in just a minute, I'm going to let them introduce themselves. But as you all know, that this is a youth leadership program. And since it's a youth leadership program, it just absolutely makes sense that we give our youth, our cadet chiefs in our program, an opportunity to lead. So you're going to actually have an opportunity to hear from them today, and they're going to present some different parts of our program. And then they're also going to be available at the end of the presentation to answer your questions. So if you're joining with your recruit, that's fine. If you're joining to get information because you're just a new parent, that's fine too. So let me share my screen. Okay. And then you heard from Director Montaigne and you heard from me, and now I'm going to give our chiefs an opportunity to introduce themselves. Chief Gollinge, do you want to start?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Hi, my name is Chief Gollinge. I'm from the Corporal Collar Carpenter Division from Farmingdale, New York, and I've been in the program for 6 years. Chief Rouse.
Thank you, Chief. My name is Chief Petty Officer Rouse. I've been in this program for 6 years with Battleship Missouri Division in St. Louis, Missouri. Chief Terrera.
Thank you so much, Chief. I'm Chief Petty Officer Terrara. I'm from the band The West Vision in Redwood City, California, and I've been a part of the program for 4 years.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here and welcome. Okay, so let's talk about a youth military program. Why is a youth military program a good setting to shape young leaders? Well, a military program, obviously, it provides exposure to structure and discipline in a challenging environment that stresses both personal accountability and teamwork. Military culture is based on the concepts of duty, service, and self-sacrifice, and it lays a great foundation for building servant leaders. Future leaders of all ages can benefit from starting to learn those concepts at a very young age. So youth military programs are fantastic, regardless of whether your young person wants to join the military or not. It's just a great character development program. And that's really how I got involved in this program almost 8 years ago as a parent of teenagers. And I was looking for a program that offered some structure and some discipline. My husband's military, my father was military. And, at the time my kids were 12, 13 years old. And I just thought, this is a good character development, personal accountability program, and got my kids involved in it. And here we are almost 8 years later, and I'm working for headquarters. I have 2 daughters that actually became Chief Petty Officers in this program. And one of those daughters is now at Virginia Tech in the Corps of Cadets on an Air Force ROTC scholarship. So she actually found her future career and a love for the military through the Sea Cadet Corps program. So benefits of membership, Chief Toraro.
Thank you, ma'am. So I wanted to touch briefly on the benefits of being in this program. There are so many, but these are just a couple that we thought were the most important. So your son and daughter will learn the values of patriotism, courage, self-reliance, teamwork, and accountability, which you clearly know are very important in the workforce or whatever field your child wants to go into. This is a sample of military life with no obligation. There is no obligation to join the military, although some kids do choose to do so. If you want to join the military, you can enlist an advanced pay grade, and then there's also scholarships for college and military academy opportunities for higher education. And there's also access for training and career exploration to help your kid figure out what she or he wants to do in their lives.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Eligibility requirements. Chief Gullinge, can you tell us what it takes to join the program?
Yes, ma'am. So the cadet program is divided up into two segments. So we have the Navy Lead Cadet Corps, and that's for people ages 10 to 13. And then we have the Naval Sea Cadet Corps for people ages 13 all the way to senior year of high school. You have to be a full-time student, and you have to have good academic standing. You have to be married, you can't have children. You have to be in good moral character. You have to be medically cleared through your doctor. And then just throughout the year, you have to maintain a minimum of 75% attendance. And you also have to pass the physical fitness tests.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm going to pause here on this slide because we get a lot of questions about 75% attendance. Like what does that actually mean? So a drill period is in the Sea Cadet Corps, a drill period is a 3-hour block. So a lot of units drill 1 weekend per month. So they drill Saturday for 6 or 7 hours, typically like 8 to 4 or 8 to 3:30, and also Sunday, 8 to 4, 8 to 3:30. So within that one weekend, there's actually 4 drill blocks: Saturday AM, Saturday PM, Sunday AM, Sunday PM. So you have to maintain 75% attendance to be considered in good standing in this program. So what that means is, you can miss, a quarter of a weekend drill. So if, let's say, for example, you have a very important soccer game Saturday morning, and you're going to miss drill Saturday morning. Well, we would expect you to come Saturday afternoon to finish out the day and get that drill credit for the afternoon, and expect you to come on Sunday. Likewise, if you have an SAT or something important Saturday morning that you would need to attend, we would hope that you would come in the afternoon the same day and also the next day. Or if you're sick one weekend, and miss the entire weekend, that we hope that you would come the rest of the drills that quarter. So we get a lot of people that say, oh, well, I play sports, I play extracurricular sports or recreational sports, and we have games every Saturday morning. Will that conflict with drill? Well, if your unit drills once a month on a Saturday and Sunday, then once a month you are going to have a conflict. And that's something that you're really going to have to decide between your cadet and your unit. And what we say is, if your soccer program or your sports program is every single weekend, but our program is only 1 weekend a month, we would hope that you would make our program the priority for that 1 weekend a month, because you have 3 other weekends that month to engage in those sports activities. But it's not an either or. We're not saying that you have to quit your sports if you want to be in this program, but it is going to be a balancing act, and that is going to be a conversation that you'll need to have with your local unit. But our regulations do state that if you drop below 75% attendance, that could be grounds for dismissal from the program, because at that point, you're no longer considered satisfactorily progressing in the program. A lot of units also have optional drills or makeup drills. So there's a lot of times that they could have community service events or other type of events where if you attend that event, like a recruiting event or a color guard event or a community service event, that you can use those hours from that optional event to make up for any missed mandatory drill. So your local unit will work with you, but it is important to know that attendance is a requirement, and it's important to know what those requirements are before you engage in this program. And costs. So for those of you that already are in the program or are brand new to the program, you obviously know that $90 is the annual registration fee. We do have other fees. We have the uniform fee, and that really varies by unit. There are some units that drill at military facilities and they get their uniforms donated to them. And so they may not charge any uniform fee. There are some units that have to purchase the uniform in order to be able to give it to you to use. And those units may charge a uniform fee. Sometimes what you'll see is a uniform deposit where they will collect maybe $100 and they'll just keep that in an escrow account for you. And then when your son or daughter graduates out from the program, then they give you your uniform deposit back when you return the uniforms back to the unit. It's important to know that these uniforms are from the United States Navy and they're property of the United States Navy. And so even if you're charged a uniform fee to use the uniforms, they aren't your property. They do need to be returned back to the unit when you leave the program. There are unit dues and those vary by unit. Some units have to pay for their drilling venue. They have to pay rent to be able to drill. Some units use those funds to help order awards or office supplies or pay for field trips or provide lunches during the drill day. So unit dues do vary, but there is unit fees. Your sea bag items. So you will be issued your uniforms that go in your sea bag, but there's items in your sea bag that are not going to be issued to you that you'll need to purchase. Things like when you go away to training, you'll need to purchase a pillow and a blanket, sheets and bath towels, socks and underwear, things like that. So not everything is going to be issued to you, and you're responsible for the cost of the items that go in your sea bag. Transportation to trainings. So even though we have a very generous grant from the United States Navy to help supplement the cost of our trainings, transportation to and from trainings is not covered. So that is your responsibility. And because of that, some people choose to only attend local trainings, but some people don't limit themselves to local trainings. For example, we have a lot of trainings in Orlando, Florida, and parents love to use that as an opportunity to go on vacation. So they take their child to Orlando, Florida, and drop their child off at boot camp. And then they take a nice 9-day vacation while their child is in boot camp, and then they attend graduation at the end of their vacation. So that happens, and that's perfectly okay. You can do that. We have basic and advanced trainings. There are fees to attend those trainings, and that really varies. Right now, our trainings are running about $150 per week, which I think is a huge, huge bargain. You can barely feed a teenage boy for $150 a week. So to be able to drop them off at a training, for them to get housing, food, and high quality military training and exposure to a bunch of different career fields for $150 a week it's an absolute bargain. So some trainings are a little more expensive, and that's because the training itself is very expensive. For example, we offer basic scuba certification, and the basic scuba certification, if you were to pay for that on your own and buy all of the necessary scuba gear, it is well over $1,000 to be able to get that scuba certification locally through your local dive shop. Through our program, you can get that certification for anywhere from $300 to maybe $500. So it's a deep, deep discount and a great opportunity. The National Flight Academy, we have a partnership with the National Flight Academy. If you have a child who's interested in aviation and you go to the National Flight Academy, which is open to anyone can send their child to a week-long camp at the National Flight Academy, but it's going to cost you $1,300 if you do it on your own. But if you do it through our program, at most it's going to cost you $300. It's because, again, our generous grant through the United States Navy to be able to train our cadets, that subsidizes that cost. Huge, huge bargain. So that's some of our costs. All right, what kind of parent are you? I love this slide. I didn't know that there were so many different types of parenting styles, right? So we have the helicopter parent who's always hovering, the Black Hawk parent who's sort of an extreme helicopter parent, the lawnmower parent who mows down everyone and everything to make a smooth and easy path for their child. The bulldozer parent destroys everything in the path. And the stealth parent, the one who is secretly hovering, the in denial parent who says, nope, not my perfect angel, couldn't possibly have done anything wrong, the lion parent who's always roaring, and the wolf parent who travels in packs. So it's important to know what kind of parent you are, because, and it's important to know that in our program, that this really is a very much a cadet-led program. So what I like to tell people is, you know, as much as you may be a helicopter or Black Hawk parent and you want to be involved and you want to volunteer and you want to go to drill with your kid every single month, that's great. But you're not going to go to boot camp with your child, and you're not going to be responsible when they show up with their sea bag. You're not going to be responsible for whether or not the right contents are in that sea bag. You're not going to run the PRT, which is the physical readiness test, for your child. So regardless of what kind of parent type you are, just know that in this program, this is the Sea Cadet program. It's not the Sea Parent program or Sea Adult program. So it's all about learning how to support your child in this program and recognizing that if you are one of these parenting styles, if you tend to be kind of a helicopter parent, this is an opportunity for you to take a step back and give your child an opportunity to grow and learn. Parental support is very important. And what we need from you as a parent of a cadet is we need you to invest in learning the program. So we need you to learn, you know, what the advancement requirements are, what the CBAG requirements are, because obviously, like, your cadet can't go out to the store and buy all of the things that they need to go in the sea bag. And we want you to know what the advancement requirements are so that you can help your child meet those requirements. We want you to encourage your child to get the most out of this program possible by engaging in this program. We not want, but we need you to let your child experience success and failure in this program, and that's how they're going to grow. So going back to the parenting styles, you know, as a parent, and I am the parent of 6 children, so we very much want to protect our children, right? And we very much want them to succeed, and it's very difficult to see our children fail, but sometimes the best growth in any human being comes through failure. And what's great about this program is that we allow our Sea Cadets to experience failure, but in a safe environment where they're going to be held responsible and accountable, but they're also going to be encouraged and mentored by cadet leaders and by cadet and by adult officers in the program. So it's a safe place for them to experience failure. They will have this safety net around them, but we don't want them to, we don't want to stop them from falling and failing. We just want to help brush them off and pick them up and get them right back on the right path after their failure. So don't be afraid of failure. Don't be afraid about letting your child fail, because that's how they're going to grow. We do have volunteer opportunities in the program, and I'm actually going to give our volunteer engagement director an opportunity to talk about volunteer opportunities and how to become a volunteer. But before I do that, I just want to just address that, you know, make sure that if you become a volunteer, that you're joining for the right reasons, right? So we want our volunteers to be invested in the program and the success of all of the cadets in the unit. And it's very easy to get invested in the success of your own child, but it's really important that when you come to our program as a volunteer, that you come there and you take your mom or dad hat off and you put on your Sea Cadet volunteer hat, and that you're there to support and encourage all the cadets in the unit, and that you're not there just to support and lift up your own child. So just make sure that you're joining for the right reasons, because that's really, really important for you, important for your child, and important for the unit and for the unit to grow. So Director Montaigne, so if someone is interested in volunteering, what kind of volunteer opportunities are there, and how do they go about joining?
That's a great question. And I'm so pleased to say that with our program, there are so many opportunities to support. And we know some people have a little time to give, some people have a lot of time to give. So we have a whole gamut of opportunities. So first thing you should do is talk to your local unit. What is it they need? What do they need help with? And then tell them what your skill set is and what you're interested in and what you're good at, so that they can match you with a role in the unit that will not only help them, but also be an area that you're comfortable with. So for example, every unit has a financial officer. Every unit has somebody who's in charge of supply and ordering the uniforms and things like that. Those are just a few examples, all the way up to the commanding officer who runs the unit. So there's just quite a variety. You do not have to have military experience in order to volunteer. And so again, we have many people who do, and there's a role for everyone to play. So again, if you're interested in volunteering, and we do encourage you to do that, the entire program is run by unpaid adult volunteers. And that's how this program works so well. They're passionate, they're committed. So we invite you to consider that. Talk to your local commanding officer, see what they need. And we have an application for our adult volunteers on the website. I'll share that via the chat function. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I'm just going to echo that, that there are so many different ways to volunteer your time, talent, and resources to our program. So perhaps you have a professional expertise in information technology. There's a way to utilize that in the Sea Cadet Corps program. Maybe you can become a Cyber Patriot coach, which is our cybersecurity program. Perhaps you have a law enforcement background. We have a way to utilize that. You can become one of our marksmanship coaches. So regardless of what walk of life you come from, we want to utilize your time, talent, and resources to benefit our program, and we'll find a place for you. So don't hesitate to get involved. All right, so as a parent, putting out fires, how you can help. Well, we talked a little bit about, what you can do as a parent to help your child succeed. And academics is really important to us. So in order for your cadet to move up in rank, they do have to complete coursework and exams. And so that is self-administered and self-paced. So it's important for you to check up on your child and making sure that they're not waiting until the Friday night before drill to look to see whether or not they did their coursework, right? So most units only drill once per month. And we have very little contact with our cadets the other 3.5 weeks out of the year. So how you can help is you can be that person in between drills, right? You can be that person who checks in with your child every week, maybe every Friday night, just say, hey, I know we don't have Sea Cadet drill this weekend, but where are you at with your Sea Cadet coursework? Are you keeping up with that? Are you getting your memorization done? All of our cadets have to memorize the 11 general orders, and our cadets have to memorize the Sea Cadet oath. So you can check in with your cadet, and that's definitely something where we need your support to do that. Physical fitness. Wow, physical fitness right now in a time of COVID is really impacting everyone. I know that in my local unit, we still expect our Sea Cadets to engage in physical activity, and we still expect them to submit their PRT, their physical readiness test scores. And since the beginning of COVID back in March to now, I have seen the scores drop. And that's because a lot of our young people aren't engaged in regular physical fitness anymore. We have a lot of varsity athletes that just aren't regularly exercising and practicing and competing with their teams. So one way you can help as a parent is encourage your child to engage in a regular physical fitness program, whether it's, running around the block or just doing, regular calisthenics at home. Challenge your child to a plank competition or a burpee competition. If you don't know what burpees are, look it up, Google it. They're pretty painful. Nobody loves them, but they're really, really good for your body. So, another way that you can help your child in the area of physical fitness is you can be a good role model, be a good example to them, and you can model good physical fitness and healthy behaviors, making sure that they get, nutritious food, making sure that they get out and exercise, and offer exercise with them. We can all do more of that ourselves. Uniforms. So one thing that you can do to help your child with the uniforms is so many times at the end of drill weekend, and I know our chiefs don't do this anymore, but maybe when they were young cadets, at the end of a long drill weekend, they come home and they rip off their uniform and it goes on the floor in the corner of their bedroom. And then they don't think about it again until a month later when it's time for the next drill weekend. Okay, chiefs, nod your head if you've ever had that experience. Yeah, maybe? Be honest, come on. So one thing as a parent that you can do to help your child is help them with their uniforms. As a parent, one thing that I learned from another Sea Cadet parent who mentored me was I got a Sea Cadet box. So I just got a gigantic plastic tote bin, and that became each of my children who were in the program, they each got their own box, and they kept all of their Sea Cadet uniform components in that box. And that way, when it came time to go to summer training or winter training, they weren't looking all around their bedroom for their 15 navy blue plain t-shirts, or their 15 pair of white crew socks, or their 15 pair of black boot socks. They weren't, they didn't have to spend 2 days searching for those things in order to prepare for a Sea Cadet training. So if you get a big bin and put all of those things in that bin and help them maintain that bin, that's really going to help them be successful in the program. Punctuality. Of course, it's important to be on time, right? But unfortunately, a lot of our young Sea Cadets are not in control over driving themselves or getting to drill. Now, I know that sometimes drill starts really, really early on Saturday and really, really early on Sunday. And sometimes you have to get up at 6:30 or 7 o'clock to get your child to drill on the weekends on time. And I know how hard it is to get up early every single day of the week and then also have to get up early on the weekend. But this is something where your child is going to need your help to get there on time. And just understand that punctuality is very important to them. It's very important to the unit to stay on schedule. And so please take that very seriously. And please don't be casual about the start time. Just make sure that you get them there early, because if they're late, then they're the ones who have to suffer the punishment for that. And be that person who is late. So please take that very seriously. Responsibility, of course, teaching your child responsibility to be responsible for themselves and be responsible for all of their Sea Cadet gear and their coursework. Preparedness, of course, making sure that they understand, we're going to teach them at boot camp how to prepare and care for their uniform. We're going to teach them how to make their bed. So, you can help them by enforcing those standards at home, making sure that they are taking care of their uniform, making sure that they are making their bed. Attitude is really, really important. There's a saying that says your attitude determines your altitude, and having a good attitude is really, really important. And sometimes, as much as you don't want to wake up early on Saturday or Sunday to get your child to a very early Sea Cadet event, sometimes your cadet might not want to wake up really, really early on Saturday or Sunday to get to that event. So you just want to model the right attitude, encourage the right attitude, because your attitude really does determine your altitude. Social media, if you're not engaged in your child's social media, if you're not monitoring your child's social media, I just encourage you to do so. It's just a way to stay involved in your child's life and know what is going on. And then one way you can help out our program, once you all join the program, is to spread the word about our program through social media. There's kind of this saying that we're the best youth program that no one has ever heard of. We're kind of like the best kept secret in youth programs. And we want to change that. We want more people to hear about us and more people to know about us. We're tired of being a secret and the best kept secret. We don't want to be the best kept secret anymore. So if you like the program, if your child is encouraged by this program, please share the news about our program on social media. Okay, speaking of social media and communication, there are different ways to receive information from the Sea Cadets. There's our main website, our outward facing website, which is seacadets.org. And that gives you a lot of good general information about the Sea Cadet Corps. That's a great place that you can refer new people to that want to find out more about the program. That's very, very different than the next website, which is homeport.seacadets.org. And Homeport is really designed for our members. And there's lots of things on that website that will help you. There's lots and lots of resources. And we're going to take a tour of that website at the end of the presentation. Then, of course, you can connect with us on our official Facebook page, Instagram, or on Twitter. Navy core values: honor, courage, and commitment. We absolutely subscribe to all of those core values, and we encourage our young people to engage in those core values in every aspect of their life. Cadet training. I'm going to turn this slide over to Chief Rowles, and he's going to talk to you a little bit more about the unique training opportunities. Our chiefs are going to talk to you about some of their unique training opportunities. And maybe if you're brand new to the program, your child hasn't had an opportunity to attend any of these trainings yet. So it's really, really important that you understand the vast opportunities that are waiting for your child out there in this program. So Chief Rowles.
Thank you, ma'am. So our advanced training program is really what's going to set this program apart from any other youth military program or youth leadership program. So our lead cadets have the opportunity to attend a special orientation known as League Orientation, where they're going to learn the basics of naval life and the program. And after graduation, they can attend any advanced training that they want to attend. This is not a requirement for our lead cadets, however, but it is a great opportunity. It's going to prepare them for a future in the Sea Cadet Corps, and it's also just going to be really fun. Our Sea Cadets are required to attend RT, which is a 2-week military style boot camp training that is meant to teach them the basics of the program and naval life, just as League Orientation does, just to a little bit of a higher standard that's age appropriate for that audience. After graduating, they also have that same opportunity to attend advanced trainings around the country. The only difference is this is a promotion requirement for our Sea Cadets. And then the other thing to note is that these trainings are held over your summer break and your winter break. So one of the trainings I got the chance to talk about, or attend rather, is the 2018 Black Hawk Aviation course at Camp Dodge, Iowa. So the basis of this course was learning flight mechanics and how the Black Hawk helicopter operates. And we're able to get simulator time in a multi-million-dollar Black Hawk simulator that uses virtual reality. So this was a really unique experience for me, and it's created friendships that have lasted to this day. I'm really thankful I get opportunities like this through the program. So Chief Gollinge, if you would like to go next.
Thank you, Chief. So last summer, the summer of 2019, I had the opportunity to sail aboard the United States Coast Guard cutter Bark Eagle, which is their active training ship, for a 1-week voyage. We sailed from New London, Connecticut to Portsmouth, New Hampshire. It was myself and 3 other Sea Cadets on board for that leg of the trip. And we're lucky enough to be sailing amongst the 4th-year cadets at the Coast Guard Academy. On the training, we learned all about seamanship, navigation, and it was just a really cool experience to be standing side by side with the Coast Guard Academy cadets. Chief Tarara.
Thank you, Chief. So a training I attended last summer, the summer of 2020 during the pandemic, was my unit's own held advanced music training, where we just basically had a month-long musicianship and Zoom meetings to be able to prepare ourselves to record videos and audio recordings of ourselves playing music. If Chief Powell can unmute, next.
I can. Thank you, Chief. So last summer, I went to ropes rescue training in Chattanooga, Tennessee. It was a 5-day training. For the first 3 days, at the place we were staying, we had a 30-foot tower where we learned how to tie all the ropes, and we learned how to rappel and climb that tower. For the last 2 days, we went to the Tennessee rock climbing wall, and we rappelled and climbed that wall, which was a 200-foot cliff. We also threw a mannequin down the wall, and we had to go down, rescue it, bring it back up, and take care of it as if it was a real patient.
Thank you, Chiefs, for sharing a little bit about your experiences. As you can see, our training program is just unmatched. I mean, I just can't think of any other program in America that has the depth and the breadth of the training opportunities that we offer. So I definitely think that that is the what sets our program apart from other youth programs, is taking advantage of the training opportunities. I realize that in 2020, because of COVID, the training opportunities were slim, but don't lose heart. You know, as soon as we are safe to be able to drill in person again, we will resume our robust training program, and we are busy making enhancements to that program. So we will be getting back to business as usual as soon as we are safe and cleared to do so. Okay, cadet advancement requirements. So Chief Powell, I don't expect you to go over the entire chart because it's a little bit complicated, but if you can just explain to our new recruit parents a little bit about, you know, what does it take to advance in this program? I mean, how do you become a chief? What are the things that you have to do?
Yes, ma'am. So as you'll see, the first one, which is Seaman Recruit, you don't have to do anything for that one. That's just the Seaman Recruit. And then Seaman Apprentice Temporary, SAT, you have to be in for 3 months, time in service 3 months. And then you have to do the E1, E2 course, that looks like. And then you have for Seaman Apprentice, 3 months, 3 months. And then the course, and then you have to complete a training. You also have to do PRTs for this. So the training will be the recruit training that they have to go to. And then Seaman or after Seaman Apprentice is Seaman, and then that's 6 months. And then time in service. So if you'll see how time in service keeps going up after every single one, because time in service is how long you've been in the program in total. Time in rate is how long you have to be in that rate in total. So it's all 3 months for the first two, and then 6 months for the rest. And you have to be in it for that amount of time. You can't be in it for 4 months and then ask to promote if you have everything else. You have to be in it for that amount of time. And then for exams, as it goes up, the only things that have exams are the PO3s, PO2s, and PO1. So all the petty officers. And then you have to do advanced trainings for those. And then for petty officer second class, you have to attend a POLA, which is a petty officer leadership academy. So that just teaches you how to be a leader, how to march people, and all of that. And then another advanced training. And then to become a chief, you have to staff an RT.
Thank you so much. And then there's a new column, which is PSI. So our current chiefs, they didn't officially have to go through this, although their unit commanding officer was in charge of promoting them and making sure that they met all of the minimum requirements. So that PSI is a performance standard inventory. And that's basically where the unit commanding officer verifies that the cadet at that rate has met certain performance requirements. So for example, a seaman recruit is just somebody who's brand new to the program that doesn't know anything about the program. Well, in order to promote to seaman apprentice, there will be performance standards, like the commanding officer will ask them to properly perform a hand salute, or there might be some military drill requirements, like, you know, properly demonstrate about face or left face or right face, or something like that. So there's performance standards for each level, and that is brand new to our program this year. We just added it. It was something that was happening informally in the past, and we just standardized it and made it a requirement now. Okay, unit drills. Chief Gallange, can you tell us a little bit about this thing that parents are going to hear a lot about? They're going to hear about either a POM or a POD, and they'll hear those letters over and over and over every month. What in the world is a POM or a POD?
Yes, ma'am. So as you said, every month or monthly drills, every unit should have something called the plan of the month or plan of the day. All this is just a basic overview and kind of a time schedule of what you're going to be doing for that day. So let's say it's a Saturday drill. So it'd say, okay, when you got to be somewhere, what you have to show up in, where you have to be. And it'll be, let's say 12 o'clock is afternoon chow. It'll say that on the schedule. It'll tell you classes. It's kind of the overview for the day. That's really all it is. It's just a schedule.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to share a sample POD. Can everyone see that? Give me a thumbs up from my chiefs if you can see the POD. Okay, great. So this may not look the same for every single unit, but it gives you an idea of what is on a POD or a POM. So it'll give you muster information. So muster is, you know, where to be and when, right? So here's the date, and then it breaks up into different times, you know, at 0800, that's when the Cyber Patriot team needs to muster, right? And then 1430, which is military time, that's when they are dismissed. So it gives them muster information. And then they also have the uniform of the day, or the UOD. That's another acronym that you're going to hear over and over and over as a new cadet parent. The UOD stands for uniform of the day. It tells you what to wear. And on this, it says report in the first uniform listed. So you'll see you'll see on Sunday, November 4th, it says PT gear /NWU, sleeves down. So that means that the Vikings have to report in their PT gear. However, they have to bring their NWUs with them because they have to bring all of the uniforms listed for the UOD, but they report in the first one listed. And then since it's November, for this unit, they're going to have their sleeves down and not rolled. And then for the individual POD, this is the schedule that Chief Gallange was talking about. So in this unit, they have a Cyber Patriot team that is doing one set of activities throughout the day. INDOC, which is the new cadet indoctrination course, and they're doing a certain set of activities throughout the day. And then the color guard, they have their activities for the day. And then the second page, what to bring with you, and then department notes. And again, this isn't going to be the same for every single unit, but this gives you an idea of what to look for. Basically, that one document is going to give you everything you need for your child to succeed that weekend. And it is very, very important to read that document from start to finish carefully, because there's lots of great information in there. It'll tell them due dates, when coursework is due. If they have a uniform shift date, if they're shifting from dress whites to dress blues in the fall, or from dress blues to dress whites in the spring, it'll tell you when the uniform shift date is. If they're going to have, if you have an off-site supply locker where all the uniforms are, and they have supply locker hours, open hours where you can go and pick up extra things or exchange your uniform, that information is going to be on there. Special events, community service projects or opportunities, that information is going to be on there. So it's basically the document where the unit is going to put all of their communication information and communicate to you. And it's very, very important that you encourage your new cadet to read that document from beginning to end, because it's really going to help them prepare for drill. Okay, let me get back to our slides. All right, uniforms, Chief Rouse.
Thank you, ma'am. So our cadets have the opportunity to wear authentic Navy uniforms as long as they have identifying markings that signify membership within our program. So like I have shoulder flashes in this uniform, that signify that I'm a cadet, not Navy personnel. So all of our chiefs today are modeling different uniforms that you'll see within the program, and they'll have the chance to explain what each of those items are. But one of the big things that we teach our cadets is to respect and take pride in the uniform. We teach them how to take care of it and also how to behave in uniform, instilling military bearing and discipline so that we ensure that the uniform is respected by all of our cadets. As far as grooming goes, we ask that our cadets adhere to Navy guidelines regarding hair, facial hair, jewelry, things of that nature. So today I'm wearing a Chief Petty Officer dressed blue uniform. So Chief Petty Officer is the highest rank you can attain within the program. And as a result of that, I have the privilege to wear this uniform, which looks a little bit different than the normal cadets dress blue uniform. The dress uniforms are worn for our more formal occasions or events. And then dress uniforms, there's two versions. There's the dress blue and there's the dress whites. So dress blues are worn in the winter and whites are worn in the summer. The cadets on the screen right now, they are actually wearing our cadet dress white uniform. So you have an idea of what that looks like. And if you're in a warmer climate area, you may be wearing the dress white uniform all year round as opposed to dress blues. So Chief Gollinge, if you want to go ahead and introduce your uniform.
Sure, thank you, Chief. So I'm currently wearing the Naval Working Uniform Type 3s, also called NWUs or NWs for short. This is going to be your most common uniform that you're going to be wearing. You'd wear it for drills, most trainings. It's more or less your everyday sort of uniform. You wouldn't wear this in any sort of ceremony. That's would be more where the dress blues or dress white uniform comes in. But this is the current Navy uniform. I think Chief Powell is going to show us the outdated uniform that we're phasing out of in just a minute. So if Chief Powell just wants to talk about that.
Thank you, Chief. So these are the NWU type 1s. So these, the Navy has phased out this uniform, but the Sea Cadets, some units still have them. So you may go to a unit and you might see these and then you'll be like, oh, okay. So these are basically just like the one that Chief Gollinge just talked about. These are working uniforms. We only wear them for community service, trainings, drills. We don't wear them for ceremonies and anything like that. The for his, the rank is on the middle, but then for these, the rank is on the collar. Chief Dora?
Thank you, Chief. So these are the formal alternative to the NWUs, both types. These are only for chiefs and officers. They're not for new cadets. So as soon as your cadet reaches that highest rank, they'll have the privilege to wear this uniform. The ranks are on the collars, and you get to wear your ribbons on this one as well.
Thank you so much, Chiefs, for explaining the difference of all these uniforms. You know, I didn't come from a military background, so when I joined the Sea Cadet Corps as a parent volunteer, that was really, really hard for me to understand. Why is everyone wearing all of these different uniforms at the same time? Why do adults wear something different? Why do certain cadets wear something different? So thank you for taking the time to explain that to us. Okay, chain of command. Chief Gollinge, you want to to some of us civilian parents that have never heard of chain of command, we're not actually going to chain up anyone, right? But can you explain to us what the chain of command is?
Yes, ma'am. So being this is a military-like organization, we try to keep it as realistic as possible. And with that comes something called the chain of command. All that is, it's almost like a hierarchical chart. So you're going to have somebody who's all the way at the top. They're going to be the person in charge, overviewing. And then from there, that person is going to have subordinates in charge of subordinates all the way down to just the most junior cadet. So I believe on the next slide, there's an example. Yes, so here's a little example. So at the top, you can see you have, in this scenario, the leading chief petty officer. Underneath Chief Powell, in this case, we have a leading petty officer, and they break off into company commanders and squad leaders all the way down. So this just helps to create organization and ensures that everybody's informed. And that is pretty much it. It's just a form of communication and organization.
Great. And then do you mind telling us a little bit about the officer chain of command and how that works?
Yes, ma'am. So within, obviously we have the cadets themselves, but we also have the adults, and they're all aspects of this program.
Great, thank you so much. I'm not sure if everybody heard you. My computer glitched a little bit, but basically, just to summarize, the officer chain of command mirrors the officer ranks in the military. The cadet chain of command mirrors the enlisted ranks in the Navy, and each set, the cadets and the officers, have their own chain of command. And thank you so much for that. Okay, memorandum of understanding. So, I just like to go over sort of expectations, right? So in the Sea Cadet Corps, we mean what we say and we say what we mean. So we demand compliance, we enforce standards, and we hold cadets accountable. So this is not a program that you want to enter into lightly. You have to really understand what the commitments are and what the requirements are, and you have to be all in. I mean, you're only going to get out of this program what you put into the program. So you have to understand that this is a youth military program, but most of the cadets in the program, they're here because they want to be here. So we're not a scared straight program. We're not the kind of program that you want to send your kids that are a discipline problem to and hope that, somehow or another, we're going to send them to boot camp and fix their issues. That's not the kind of program that we are. So we only drill one weekend a month, and we want people to be here that want to be here, but they have to understand what the requirements are, and they have to understand what kind of program we are. Their actions and the consequences of their actions are not negotiable with parents. So we have a set of standards, we have our regulations, we have our manuals, and we do run very much like the military. We have our chain of command, and we have disciplinary procedures for when people violate the regulations. And when that happens, the regulations will be enforced, and that's not something that's negotiable with parents. So it's not like a school program or maybe other youth programs where we bring the parents in and we say, negotiate with the parents about what kind of disciplinary action is going to take place. There may be a time and a place where we do get parents involved, but for the most part, our disciplinary actions are already set forth for us in our regulations, and our regulations will be enforced. We clearly set high standards for our youth. And again, we set the standards high, and we encourage our cadets to reach and exceed those standards. Cadets lead cadets, but as servant leaders and not self-serving leaders. And I think that you can see that demonstrated by our chiefs today. So here we are on a Saturday night, and this isn't the first webinar today. This is the second webinar today that these chiefs are involved in. And I'm sure that as high school juniors and seniors, there's probably many other ways that they could choose to spend their Saturday evening, but they are chiefs in our program, and they're leaders in our program, and they are servant leaders, and they're taking their evening tonight to serve others and give back to this program that they got so much out of. And so we appreciate them modeling that. And that's the example that we expect our cadets to aspire to follow. We do have a cadet code of conduct. On the left-hand side, you see it says, "I promise to," and this is actually our Sea Cadet oath in navy blue. And then there's the cadet code of conduct in white. And see how it's broken up into different sections? What's neat about the code of conduct and the Sea Cadet oath is that the code of conduct basically explains the Sea Cadet oath. So on where it says, "I promise to serve faithfully," if you look directly across from that, you see I will. And then it explains what it means to serve faithfully. To serve faithfully means that you will put others before yourself. You will participate with enthusiasm, and you will meet or exceed all advancement requirements. So I'm just going to go through the rest of this because I think it's really, really important to understand, because this is the tenets of our program, right? So I promise to honor our flag, and what that means is to wear my uniform with pride, follow our Navy's customs and courtesies. I promise to abide by the U.S. Naval Sea Cadet Corps regulations, and that means to know the rules and follow them, do the right thing even when it's not popular, and stay away from alcohol, drugs, and gangs. I promise to carry out the orders of the officers appointed over me, and that means to perform each task with maximum effort, earn the trust of my superiors and the respect of my subordinates. And I promise to conduct myself as to be a credit to myself, my unit, the U.S. Naval Sea Cadet Corps, the Navy, the Coast Guard, and my country. And what that means is that I will strive to become a leader of character, treat others with dignity and respect, and stand up against bullying, hazing, harassment, discrimination, gossip, and all other forms of prohibited conduct. So that's who we are, and that is what we do. And now what I would like to do is I am going to open it up to questions. So if you have any questions, please take advantage of the chat feature, and please post your questions there. And I'm going to moderate and ask our chiefs to answer some of these questions. There is a question, let's see, Chief Torreira, and there's a question about attendance during the pandemic. So if you can explain to us, what's going on right now at the unit level, and how do people keep their attendance up?
Of course, ma'am. So at the unit level, there's still virtual drills that are occurring. Most units are having drills either once a month, twice a month, or however many they choose. It's up to them. And I would suggest for to stay motivated to keep attending those virtual drills. They're not that much of a commitment. They're usually 1 to 2 hours per day. So it's just take a small portion of your day and just keep going to them. That's just really all that you need to do.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And I also want to add that that we have actually released temporary policy guidance. And what that says is that we are giving flexibility to units to waive that 75% attendance requirement right now during COVID. So that is in effect into at least the spring of 2021. So the 75% requirement is not being enforced right now just because of all of the circumstances outside of everyone's control. Okay, so people are asking about immunizations. So Lieutenant Lampkin, do you mind talking to us about immunizations? Are immunizations required?
Yes, so immunizations are a requirement for enrollment to the program. It's because we have cadets who are going to be in close contact with each other. For instance, when your cadet goes aboard a ship, they're going to live maybe inches away from another member, even our active duty service members. So it's really important that cadets do have their immunizations up to date.
Thank you so much.
Mrs. Powell, I've gotten a couple of questions that you may not have seen. The first question is there somewhere to get a quarterly schedule? Being new, we are hearing week to week if we have a drill. Our unit typically drills twice a month, but logistics require this parent to have more notice to plan transportation. They're just wondering if there's some type of master schedule.
So that's a good question. And unfortunately, that's going to vary from unit to unit. I know that, again, our units are run by volunteers, and our volunteers have families and full-time jobs, and they're doing the best they can. If you present your specific situation to your unit, they may be able to give you some information or communicate some information to you in advance. They may say, well, because of COVID right now, a lot of units are sort of in flux. I know that my particular local unit, we had our drilling venue basically say that we were not allowed to drill there anymore. So every single month is kind of a guessing game for us as adult, as at the unit level, as adult volunteers trying to coordinate activities for our cadets, because we don't have a home right now to drill at. So things are unfortunately a little bit more disorganized right now just because of the situation. But I think if you just open up your communication with your unit commanding officer and explain that, you know, you need more advance notice, and, you know, even if it's not, even if they don't have all of the information, like if they may not know exactly what the start time is or exactly what uniform to report in that day, if they can at least give you some tentative dates that the unit is going to be drilling on, that would help you.
Thank you. And one other question was, is time in service being counted during this time of virtual drills?
Yes, absolutely. Time in service is being counted. So as long as you stay registered and stay a member in good standing in the program, then your time in service counts. Now, if your registration lapses, you may be dropped from the program. So if you've been in the program for 10, 11, 12 months and your registration is about to lapse, I encourage you, don't let that lapse. Keep your registration renewed so that you can take advantage of all the benefits in the program and continue to accrue time in service. Let's see, I'm looking at some questions here about RT. It's training this year was in a blended hybrid format in some places where they attended a lot of the classroom training online. And then they did a local in-person training. So in those cases, if those cadets have been unable to attend the phase 2, which is the in-person portion of RT, we are hoping to offer more of those in the spring as soon as it's available. And we have given local units the authority to hold localized RT phase 2s, which means that your unit or your region can have a RT phase 2 locally, and they can do that over the course of a couple different weekends. So there are going to be other opportunities for the RT phase 2. Just looking at some more of these questions. Training opportunities. So summer training opportunities, people are asking about, you know, what are the dates for recruit training? Recruit training typically begins in June and it goes all summer long. And the recruit training lasts anywhere from 9 to 14 days. Although if you did a hybrid RT where you did the classroom portion online, then your RT phase 2 may only be 4 or 5 days long. And we are hopeful that we will be able to open up and have in-person RTs this coming summer in 2021. But as you know, things are constantly changing, and we will just adapt as the situation unfolds. If you're new to the program, make sure that your email address is correct in our Magellan system, because that's where you're going to get notification from headquarters about all of the national initiatives that we have going on. So if you joined during COVID and your local unit is not drilling and you cannot figure out how to stay involved, please know that National Headquarters is putting together and has released many, many opportunities. We have a program called Real Sailors, Real Sea Stories. They can watch that. We have webinars that previously were hosted by our last Senior Leadership Cadet Council. We have other career exploration webinars. We have a webinar coming up. We have 2 webinars coming up next weekend that are really, really interesting. If you have a child that's interested in finding out what it takes to join, what it takes to be selected to a military academy, we have partnered with Representative Jennifer Wexton out of Virginia, and her Service Academy Selection Committee is going to give a presentation next Saturday Unfortunately, the hours do conflict a little bit with the Army-Navy game, but you will be able to watch the first 2 hours of the Army-Navy game before jumping on our webinar if you're interested in finding out about the Service Academy selection process directly from a House of Representatives selection committee team that actually makes those nominations. And then on Sunday, we have a webinar with the U.S. Coast Guard Recruiting Command, and they're going to talk all about different careers and opportunities with the Coast Guard. So we have lots of stuff coming out of headquarters. So even if you're not getting communication from your local unit, just check in with your local unit and make sure that you have your email address correct in our Magellan database system so that you will get emailed directly on those opportunities as they come up. And please, please, please encourage your child to engage in those opportunities as those are created for them. And it's a way to just stay connected to our program, even if your unit isn't drilling.
Director Powell, I just wanted to let you know that we have our Executive Director, Rear Admiral Robin Graf Moon, and our Board of Directors, and also Tim Moon here as well. So they would like to just say a few words if you could make them a co-host.
Fantastic. Wow. So you guys are in for a real treat today to be addressed by 2 admirals. Look at how lucky we are today. All right, let me just find them. Let me see, looking. Sorry.
Under Timothy Moon, they're together.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And in the meantime, I just want to let everyone know we posted a form in the chat function. Please do let us know you were here tonight. It's also another opportunity to share any feedback or questions that we weren't able to address this evening, as well as we can get you this information on the upcoming webinars. We also have a teen mental health webinar tomorrow night, helping our teens and our cadets with coping strategies for COVID-19. So if you fill out that form, we'll make sure you get all that information. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Admiral Moon and Admiral Graf, you now have controls. You should be able to turn on your video and unmute yourself. And we are so fortunate to have you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for sending us the invitation, and welcome to everyone. Sorry we didn't get to listen into the entire webinar, but we know that everyone's doing such a great job. And as I recall, this is for the parents of prospective cadets. And I just want to say that you're embarking on a tremendous journey for you and your child, whether regardless of age, they'll be taken well care of in the Sea Cadets, and we look forward to being part of your family. Okay, and with that, I'll turn it over to Robin Graf.
Good evening. I welcome you all to this, and I can't tell you how exciting it is if you are truly embarking on this journey. As a parent of children who have had the opportunity to develop leadership skills, this is one of those programs that is absolutely instrumental in making such a difference and being significantly important to where they go in the future. So if you have any questions whatsoever, don't hesitate to give a call, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you so much, Admiral Moon and Admiral Graf, for being here, and thank you for the warm welcomes. I realize that we're over the 1 hour mark, but I have a common question that keeps popping up in my feed, and it's asking if the webinars next weekend are going to be recorded. So yes, we do record them, and then we will post those on our home port, and that's homeport.ccadets.org. And if you go there and go to COVID-19, you will actually have access to some of our previous webinars. So if you want to see what we've been doing in 2020, please go and check it out. And we've done, I think this is our 29th webinars since March. So hopefully you'll find something that interests you. Lots of career exploration stuff. We had a Navy SEAL, we've had pilots, we've had all kinds of people do really interesting webinars. So please take a look at what we have to offer there. And again, I have a question. It's Director Montaigne, will the teen webinar tomorrow be recorded too?
Absolutely, it will be recorded. I'm just about to post the link for those who do want to join tomorrow night. But then yes, we will send a link with that recording to you this week.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay, so I don't know if there's a couple more pressing questions that we want to get to before we wrap up. Do you have anything, Director Montaigne?
No, I just want to thank everyone for your time and for being a part of our Sea Cadet family. We look forward to working with all of you and to seeing your cadets and all the ways they're going to shine through this program. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you to our chiefs that joined us tonight. I absolutely love putting them out front because this program is, it's for them and it's run by them. And it's great to see, if you're a new parent that's just joining the program, they are a fantastic example of what you can expect from a young person who has been in this program 3 or 4 years. Absolutely outstanding young Americans, and we are so proud of them. So thank you, Chiefs, for joining us. And thank you, everyone. And please enjoy the rest of your Saturday evening, and we look forward to connecting more with you soon. Thank you so much.